So last week I had roughly around a 23% show up rate. I was getting no one to show up to my calls, no one is replying to my messages, no one is opening my emails, no one is answering my calls, and no one is jumping on the Google Meet meetings that they had booked with me from various different traffic channels, from from ads, from inbound, from content, from just messaging people. I had an absolutely horrendous show up rate, and so it led me to do a bit of research and do a bit of feedback and testing and implementation to see if I could fix my show up rate heading into this week. And so far in the first 3 days of this week, I'm averaging right now about 87% show up rate, which is absolutely insane to go from 23 to 87 in such a short time frame. And so I just want to share with you the things that I implemented, and the things that actually made the biggest differences that I think you could implement today as well to hopefully get more people to show up to your calls as well. So when it comes to show up rate, there's obviously a lot of different factors, right? Like how the call is framed, what the purpose of the call is, how well the prospect understands the call, how well the prospect is educated before the call, how well the prospect knows you, the nurturing sequences, the indoctrination sequences, the follow-ups, the reminders, and a variety of different things that we'll kind of cover and touch on. However, there is one thing that I did that has created the absolute biggest difference out of any of the things I've done, right? Like I have the indoctrination sequence, I have the framing, I have the triage call, I have the follow-up reminders, I have SMSs, you name it, I have it all, right? But there's one thing that I implemented that actually allowed me to go from 23 to 87% show-up rate, and that is something that most people won't do, okay? And so what the thing is it was customized, personalized, manual text messages on not just text, okay, but iMessage, WhatsApp, and Instagram. And so what I did is I started collecting people's numbers, which I already was doing, and then I also started to collect their Instagrams. And what I would do is the morning of the call, so the morning of the call, so let's say if I had a call today, in the morning I actually did this, I started to message all my prospects. I would go into the Go Level Contact, I would go find their Instagram, I would go message them on Instagram, I'd go find their iMessage, and I'd go find their WhatsApp. And I'd message them on typically two of the platforms, typically either iMessage and Instagram or WhatsApp and Instagram, depending on where in the world they're from. If they use WhatsApp, I'll message them on WhatsApp. If they don't use WhatsApp, meaning they're probably in Canada or America, I'll send them an iMessage with my personal phone number. Now, the reason why I use my personal phone number is now it shows up as blue, or actually shows up as iMessage on the prospect's on the prospect side when they get the message, if they use iMessage as well, which will make them think that this is an actual person texting them, not a robot, because people know right away if you send them a text message and it's green, whatever, they know that this is a robot, or typically an automated message that they don't want to reply to, right? Not to mention you can't send audio messages or personalized voice messages or even video messages through Go Level or a lot of these platforms. And so what I started to do is I would message everyone in the morning with a very customized message. I would be like, yo, name, which is already like a bit more chill, right? Just Stefan here, excited for our call today to talk about, and I would insert the reason why they booked the call. So when someone books a call with me, I ask them what's the reason. And so what I do is I would insert the reason why they booked a call with me to personalize that message to them. And sometimes I would even send them a voice message being like, oh man, super excited to chat with you, or just to make sure you're still good for 2:30 PST. So subtly and casually reminding them of the call as well, while also asking if there's any other information they would like to share with me before the call that they would like me to know, so we can save time on the call, which opens up a question to invite them to answer and actually engage with me. And doing this across Instagram, WhatsApp, and iMessage not only got me a really, really high reply rate, but it also got people to tell me if they weren't going to show the call. And so I actually had two guys say, hey man, cancel the call, I'm good. I'm like, yeah man, for sure I can do that, any particular reason. Just don't see a need for the call. Actually, one guy was like, I'll only go if it's free. I don't really see a need for the call. After a bit of text messaging back and forth and a bit of audio messages to share with him, my voice and whatnot, so he can understand that I'm actually chatting with him and caring, the guy actually showed up to the call. And he actually closed on that call. So I went from having someone who's probably going to no-show me without a reason to tell me they were going to no-show, to show up to the call, to close. And that's what happens when you actually put in this manual work. You see, a lot of people won't do this stuff, right? They won't send manual text messages. They won't do customized messages. They won't go out of their way to send messages because they want everything to be automated. I'm booking, let me check my computer right now. Let's see. Yesterday I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 calls on the calendar. Today I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 calls on the calendar. And tomorrow I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 calls on the calendar. I have more calls in a day than most people have in a week, and I'll still manually follow up with all my prospects. Why? Because it's the highest leverage thing you can do, and it's the thing that no one else is willing to do. And so when you separate yourself, and when you do what no one else is willing to do, you get what no one else is able to get. right? And this is a very simple saying that we get often in life, right? Everyone wants the prize, but no one wants to pay the price. Everyone wants the trophy, but no one wants to do the training, right? Everyone wants the view, but no one wants to do the climb. It's how it works in life. And so if you're willing to put in the work that no one else is willing to do, which is typically the unscalable, nitty-gritty, dirty work, you will get results no one else is able to get, right? So far this week I have a show up rate that's better than most people's show up rate. But that's because I'm doing the work that most people aren't willing to do. I know guys right now who are making $0K a month, who are booking 5 calls a week, who still refuse to follow up with their prospects. When I was booking no calls a week, right, or maybe like 1 or 2 calls a week, I would send personalized looms. I would follow my prospects on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. I would connect them everywhere. I would send them messages. I would give them value. I would send them podcasts. I would send them my YouTube videos. Right, I would make sure that they would not forget about me. I don't even have to remind them of the call. They know they booked the call with me, but I just don't want them to forget about me. And as long as I'm in their head and talking with them and giving them value, just having conversations, the odds to show up to the call is super, super, super high. So there's 1,000 other things you can do, right? Like having your indoctrination sequence and making sure in your indoctrination sequence, it doesn't feel robotic. It feels very natural. It feels very human, right? So if you're sending SMS, maybe add an intentional spelling error, right? Maybe don't sound so formal. Don't say hey name at the beginning of every email, at the beginning of text message. You don't text your friends hey name, right? Let's say your buddy's name is Brian, right? You don't say hey Brian, how are you doing today, right? Brian already knows who you are. You just say hey, what's up, bro? Right? You maybe don't say bro, but you can use a bit more casual language just to lower the sales resistance and lower the guard a little bit. Right? Make sure that in all your SMSs, in all your automations, it isn't just reminders. Fill it with value and indoctrination. Value and indoctrination to build curiosity for the call. The person will know when the call is. You can subtly remind them, like you can send them a whole case and be like, hey, by the way, our call's in a couple hours. And don't send, another good tip for you is don't send messages on the hour. Don't send an email, go level, wait 3 hours before. No, say wait 3.2 hours or 2.7 hours. That way when you say to them, hey, by the way, our call's in 3 hours, when you send the email at 2.7 hours, it looks like, oh, this isn't automated because it's like, it's 2 point whatever hours, not 3 hours, right? It was sent at 10:47 instead of 10:30 on the dot or 11 on the dot. It seems more natural. Right? We want to optimize for making the person think we're human because that increases the chances they respond, which starts with your first message. It starts with your very, very, very first message. Okay, the very first message will set the tone for if they're going to read every other message, right? If your first message is super heavily automated and makes them think you're a robot, the next time they get a text message from that same number for that same email, they're just going to think that's a robot. So they're not going to want to even open the email or reply. So even if you have a bunch of value, a bunch of indoctrination, a bunch of case studies, they still won't open the email, which negates the whole purpose of your indoctrination sequence, right? Having content in your indoctrination sequence is huge. I send YouTube videos in every single one of my emails, different YouTube videos for different purposes, to try and just get them to watch, right? To indoctrinate themselves even more, and give them value. So when they jump on the call, they feel like they already know me. They feel like they already know who I am, what I do, etc. So I've warmed the prospect up. You can only do that if the person actually opens your emails, which starts with setting the tone on the first email, which is why the first email and the first text message are the most important. Another thing you can do is a triage call or a confirmation call. When someone books a call, if it wasn't outbound, right, as long as it was inbound, let's say ads, content, etc., call the person up, right? Or what I do is I'll just text them manually. If someone books a call, I'll instantly go in and go on iMessage, Instagram, or WhatsApp and message them like, yo, bro, sorry you booked a call for Tuesday, I think. Looking forward to speaking with you then. Is there anything else you'd want me to know? And sometimes I'll drop a voice message just so they know it's not automated. Right? Because even saying something like that, people can just maybe think, it might be automated. So sometimes voice message or video message, just to make sure that they know this isn't automated. I actually put time in messaging you. I care about you enough to text you normally, right? Which then they will value me in the call more. The likelihood they show up is even higher, okay? A lot of times the reason they'll show up is not because they forget. It's because they typically either got busy or didn't see the value in the call. And so therefore being able to chat with them beforehand, and that way if they have any objections for like, is it free, is it not free, and being able to handle those objections prior to the call will actually increase your show up rate because people can get this stuff out of the way. Okay, so that is how you can go about increasing your show up rate. That's how I've done it. I'm not saying that this will guaranteed work for you, but I can promise you there's not a lot of people doing exactly what it is that I just explained here, and therefore if you do try it, I reckon it'll work wonders for you because you'll put in the work that no one else is willing to do. So hope that helped, hope that added some value. If you're curious about more of these tactical tips that I have, look in the link in the description below. Perhaps you can partner with me. Otherwise, use these. Go make a bunch of money. Go get a lot of show-ups. And I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.